Crystal Thompson here for Scrapbook Cards today. Today we are creating a really fun rainbow stencil card with faux embroidery heat embossing, right? It's going to be a busy, fun card. Let me show you what we're using. We are using the CST delivered stamp sets in succulents, and we're actually only going to use this tiny little sentiments. Also going to be using this 6x6 designer stencil. This is from Tailored Expressions. This is Snow Flurries. For our embroidered stamps, we're using the Embroidery Blossoms from Pink Fresh. These are really fun, and we're going to create a neat floral cluster. Then we are going to embroider, or we're going to heat emboss these in Simon Says Stamp Clear Embossing Watermark ink and Wow White Puff Twinkle. And then for our inks, we're using Cabernet, Inchworm, Moonstone, Tahiti, and Princess, and these are from Color Box Die Stress. So let's get started. All right, friends, I have my cardstock pre-cut and ready to go, and we're going to be using the Tailored Expressions stencil, and this is a Snow Flurry, so this is actually a winter-based stencil, but I wanted to use it for a different purpose. And since we're going to be creating a rainbow with it, I didn't think there'd be anything wrong with using it for the stenciling rainbow. When using stencils, I found attaching the stencil to the actual card using purple tape or using washi tape makes it a lot easier, and that way you're not sticking it to your surface, yet you are putting it on the cardstock and it's not going to move. So we're going to begin with our lightest color, which is going to be Princess. I'm going to be using just some blender brushes. I'm going to grab that color, and let me tell you, dye stress inks are a dye ink that react with water. So there's a really popular brand out there that is quite similar. However, I'm finding that the die stress has a bigger pad, and I really just enjoy it. So this is Cabernet. It has a really fun color. This is kind of like a purple. And we're going to do our rainbow in a color wheel pattern. If you have to come back and add more color, feel free. We're going to move on to the Moonstone. We're going to change up our brush. And I like having a brush per color family. It just makes it easier. You don't end up with a ton of brushes. So the Moonstone is a very nice blue. Move these. We're going to move on to Inchworm. I'm going to grab the next brush. Get our brush nice and saturated with ink. And last but not least, we're going to use Tahiti. This is an absolutely gorgeous color. I think this is my favorite color from all the color selections. All right, we have our color blending done. We're going to remove the stencil, and see what I mean? It never moved. And you can't tell this is a snowy flurry. So let's begin with the next phase of our card. All right, guys, we're gonna allow this to dry. And while that happens, we're gonna begin heat embossing our vellum. So I have our Embroidery Blossoms and I have my vellum. I have added a little bit of the embossing buddy. This is just cornstarch. You can use baby powder. This is gonna allow it to not stick. Next, I have my florals already clustered. So I have a leaf that I'm gonna use, and then I have my floral clusters ready to go. It just makes it a lot easier when you are going to heat emboss. I'm gonna get my Simon Says Stamp clear ink. We are gonna ink up our clusters. We're gonna stamp those down and leave enough room to add your leaf pattern. So I'm gonna get that. And if you wanna add a piece of colored cardstock behind it so you can see where you're stamping your leaf patterns, it sure makes it easier. All right, I'm going to turn it around to do the other side. Once we are done with that, we're going to come in with our Wow embossing powder. We're going to cover the entire thing, and then we are going to heat emboss. All right, guys, I have heat embossed, and with that Wow puff glitter, it puffs up and it's really pretty. Look how pretty that turned out. So we're going to go ahead and use our scissors, and we're going to trim around it. I love doing cluster florals because it covers an area quite large, so you can make as large or as small of a cluster as you prefer. I'm going to come back after I am completely done trimming around it. However, I do want to mention that I'm going to leave some of the vellum, so about 1/4 of an inch on the edge, just so it does look like vellum. All right, guys, look, that's what it ended up looking. Look at that beautiful edging. So now we're going to begin assembling our card. I have my card base ready to go. I'm going to place my embellished blended cardstock. So what we're going to do, we're going to add some adhesive to the back of this. Okay, once that's adhered, we're going to use foam adhesive on the back. And when you're placing foam adhesive on vellum, it can kind of show. So what I decided to do, I was just going to do 2 big pieces behind the large flower. And I'm just going to place these like this. And look how fun. And the reason we use vellum is that you can see little pops of color of that background. Let me lift it up so I can show you just what it looks like. It does need a sentiment. So we have a little piece of scrap cardstock. And then we're going to be using the You Are Lovely. And I'm going to be doing that in distressing. So we're going to grab our Cabernet and our Tahiti. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to rock one edge of it. And then we're going to grab the other color and just rock it just a little bit so there is some color overlapping and you get a little bit of a rainbow. And then we're going to stamp it. And I love using these smaller sentiments because it does not take away from your card. So we're going to just trim that and add some adhesive. All right, I'm going to place this with my adhesive on the back and place some foam. And there you have it. It's a very clean and simple card that you can make using all sorts of things. It's a little bit difficult to see. There we go. It's right on the edge. You can see how pretty this card really is and all that ink blending. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to click subscribe if you enjoyed this tutorial. Stay tuned for more videos just for you. Thanks so much.